Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways, Coyote in the Highlands. We're going to get a little woo-woo now. I did a video recently about movement and creativity and how if you're feeling the slump of creativity, get moving, you know. Creativity relies on your body and your mind being in a state of, you know, a good state, whatever that is, your energy fields. And this is where we're going to get woo. Moving around, moving your body definitely helps your neurology, it helps your creativity, it helps everything. It's all connected. Well, I got some really good responses from Connecto, one of my mutuals on Twitter, and it was really neat. And he points out that if you're not moving the body, then the energy in it is not moving. And this gets down to the whole idea of stale. I use the word stale. I feel stale. And I think it's such a great descriptor of when you're not moving enough. You feel stale. So the energy just kind of sinks and sits and puddles up and turns to mud, right? It sounds woo, but there are physiological things that are actually in there. Circulation, basal metabolic rate, neurology. Your neurons are not firing if you're not moving because the neurons are all over your body. It's not just your brain in isolation. You have as much neural matter as you have in your brain in your gut. So it's like an entire second brain. This is one of the reasons that food can affect your mood so dramatically, so quickly, because that's all tied up with your microbiome and the internal ecology and the whole thing and energy levels. And anyway, you basically have a brain with two big lobes here, you know, and we focus on this one in science and medicine, and it's where our eyes are, so we tend to be up in our head and stuff. And it's interesting that some cultures in the past have considered the brain to not be the seat of consciousness, just the seat of perception, you know, and that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. But stale, that idea of being stale, not moving, it very much has to do with your energy fields, and you can describe it as physiology and neurons and everything, but just, it's your energy. Your energy needs to move and flow and clean itself out. And it's a whole system. It's a whole ecology. You have an energy ecology. I love this word. Okay, I love applying this word internally because people think of in terms of systems and networks but ecology. It's like there's a whole thing. You have an energy ecology. Moving around will actually affect the physical ecology inside your body, the other organisms, the whole microbiome, the whole symbiotic thing. You know, we're not one organism, we're millions of organisms. And your mind is affected by every single one of them. That's a really key, weird factor that people don't like to deal with because they feel like they're losing a sense of identity and it's gone and, oh my God, what do I do now? Well, that's your mind. That's not you, that's your mind. So the energy needs to flow, and moving around definitely helps with that. Standing desks absolutely help with that a little bit, as long as you're actually moving. You know, if you're just standing there in a position and you twitch a little bit and periodically and you fidget a little bit, fidgeting is a sign that you need to move in some cases. So, move, get the energy going. It would be a good idea probably to have some sort of, if you're in a sit-down job or a stand-in-one-place job, it would probably be a good idea to have a little bit of some sort of signal, some sort of thing where you go and you get up and you move around, you spin in a circle, stretch, yawn, yawn, stretch, release some tension. Put your arms over your head, wiggle around, do some stuff. Little movements even will count. And big, expansive movements, putting your arms over your head and doing a little bit of yoga and flowing and stuff, that actually helps a lot. So that's a really big deal. And it's really neat that my friend actually pointed this out. The energy can cure. Just making the energy flow, moving the energy can cure a bad mood or a feeling of being off. So it's always a good idea to take a walk, take a stretch, and see how you feel after. You know, enough of a walk to actually make a difference. And if you're not in a job or a position where you can do a little of that stretch, go to the bathroom and stretch, whatever, walk to the furthest bathroom in the building, something like that. If you're not in a job like that, then, well, you know, figure out solutions, and then maybe one of the solutions is to find a different job. Maybe one of the solutions is to be like, hey, you know, I don't smoke, but the smokers take breaks every 5 minutes, so I'm going to go walk every 10 minutes. Whatever. You know, figure out a solution. There are solutions. We can talk about that if you need help. Coaching, back channel communications, direct messages, it's always available, right? And the other thing in the woo that my friend brought up was that it's and he uses the word network, and I think that in this sense it's actually appropriate, but there's also, you can think of it as an ecology. I think this is a fantastic space, is that all of that energy is shared and leaves residue. So you're in a place, and this sounds a little bit on the woo side, but we know that there's a collective unconscious. We know that that model and that map actually works. We've done the egg experiments. We've had people around the world concentrate on one thing at one time and change probability slightly, and that, like, we know that this works. We know that there is some sort of field of energy and that it has traces and residues and lingers, and the energy you put in is going to be there, and the energy you pick up is yours to do with what you want. It can be negative energy. It can feel stale and bad, but you can revitalize it. You can change it. You can completely fuck with it. Okay? There's no problems with that. You can mess with it. That's one of the things that people don't seem to realize when they talk about energy fields and the environment. Oh, this environment feels so dirty. Well, clean it up, man. Just put some stuff in there. You know, stop with those negative vibes, Moriarty. Right? Positive waves. Give me those positive waves. You know, you don't have to be oddball, but maybe you should be oddball. Go into the situation, take a look around. If you're feeling off, is it you? Maybe. Move around. Put some positivity into it. The situation around you, the environment you're in, could very well be stale in and of itself. And that's a big deal, you know. It's a big deal to recognize. It definitely sounds woo. And, you know, for a lot of mechanistic people, it's going to not seem very real. Let's go at it from a different direction if you can't actually see it as real. Your mind can see it as real. Your mind will follow a program. So tell your mind to do what you're telling it to do and clean up the environment. Clean up the energy environment, you know. It's a network. Networks have nodes. The thing is that everything on the network affects the network. That's the really key takeaway to that. That aspect of it is that everything on the network affects the network. So you have input. You have more input than you think, and you might have more input than anyone else around you or any other situation just by being aware that you're doing that you're putting in input. So that's a really key thing. And I love the conversation around that video. I love what happened. I think that the whole idea of energy inside and the space, the energy of the environment around you, keep track of those things and move the environment, clean things up. Action always beats inaction, and that's a really key thing. Stay sideways.